Am I alive? Am I alive? Trying to cut down on some of the glare. Kimberly Brummett. Hello, darling. Hello, Aurora. Hello, Annie. Can you guys hear me? I'm starting a few minutes early to kind of give me an opportunity to just say hi to you guys, kind of relax a little bit because, hi, I'm that Mama Bear. Hi, Linda and Jack, Shorty Small, and you can hear me. Okay, good deal. You get a little bit antsy before, or at least I do, in a good way, with anticipation before you hit go live. This is our first scheduled guest who will be joining us here in just a bit. I haven't dropped in the link yet. I let him know that I would kind of settle in and give it a few minutes, and then I'll email young Mr. Trevor Lee, said with all due respect, a link to join us today. Hi, Aurora, Smashville, Christy, Jean, Eliza, Fran Baxter, Prissy Missy's Wordy Dirds, DJ Better, hi Esther, hi When Evil Entered, hi Teresa Nelson. I hope I haven't missed anybody. But that anticipation of going live, once you hit go live and you start, I should speak for myself, and I start interacting with guys, then I can kind of, okay, all right, you've done this, it's good. Except I haven't done this, at least not on YouTube. Hi, me. Hi, Gypsy Cell. Hi, Bama Cat. Hi, Jaylee. Hi, Kim. Thank you, mods, for being here. We've had one guest. It was an impromptu guest. If you were here several months ago, Sleuth Mom was in our chat room, and I was discussing something that she knew more about than I do. And so she took me through the steps to invite her up, and we had an impromptu discussion about the matter on that day. But hi, Cherokee Girl. Hi, Andy Stoner, New Orleans Lady, Marlena Cantu. But this is my first time on YouTube to have prearranged having a guest. And in my personal opinion, he's a very important guest. And I didn't want him to have to be hanging out backstage while I'm doing this little here. Hi, Shay. I'm so glad you kids are all coming over. Thank you for being here. By the way, hi, my name is Susan, and the channel is Lip Locked No More. Welcome. If you're new, we're glad you're here. And we're always, always glad to see our returning chatters and subs and viewers and visitors and all such as that. So I'm nervous, but not because I'm going to be interviewing someone. I'm nervous because of the technology involved in getting him up on this screen with me. Afraid I'm going to touch the wrong thing or do the wrong thing. But once we get him up here, well, let's see. Let me lay just a little more groundwork. I had never spoken with Trevor before Thursday of last week. I was aware of Trevor because, if you don't know, he's the young man who started the reward fund for Summer Wells with his own personal money. He is a 21-year-old college student in East Tennessee. And to quote him, from our conversation a video call on Instant Messenger. When I asked him why, his response was that it was laid on his heart. So I'm very impressed, having just met Trevor Thursday of last week, and here's how that happened. I'm sorry, I've got a really bad frog in my throat. On Thursday morning, I was making an attempt to respond to correspondence through email, instant message, texts, things of that nature. And everyone who watches me and communicates with me knows I'm not very good at keeping up with that. But I was going through Instant Messenger and at least trying to send a heart to people who had sent me messages and whatnot. And I don't know about for you guys, but on my Android, when I back out of doing that, it goes to Facebook. And there were recommended friends. You know, you might want, I can't remember what it says. I'm rarely on Facebook, but it said, you know, recommended, and it was Trevor Lee. Now, I recognized his name immediately because I watch as often as I can my friend books on crime lines and lies on YouTube. Trevor has been a guest on her channel a number of times. And when he has been there, I've done my best to be there or to at least catch the rewatch, because not only is he a very well-intended young man, a very good-hearted young man, he is a very well-spoken young man. Hi, Donna. Hi, Holy Moly. Danny. Bye-bye, Hamburger. Maj, you can go ahead and take Hamburger out if you would, please. So I want to get my chat up over here, which I haven't done. And then I'm going to drop a link to Trevor Lee. I let him. Oh, let me finish that before. I'm sorry, I got distracted by the chat there. So I clicked. I sent a friend request to Trevor Lee, and he very shortly responded by accepting my request. I'm finding us here. There we are. And there you are. Thank you, Aurora. Thought I had everything turned down here. Sorry about that. Oh, I've got the Bluetooth speaker on.
Power off.
Thought I had everything turned down here. Sorry about that. Oh, I've got the Bluetooth speaker on.
Power off.
Thought I had everything turned down here. Sorry about that. Oh, I've got
power off.
All right. Trying to
Power off.
All right. Again. Hang on, guys. Can you still hear me? I'm getting some kind of a feedback that I shouldn't be getting. because I don't have anything turned on. Let me try this again. And thank you for being patient. You know that I'm really nervous about this. Okay, you can still hear me, and did that get rid of the feedback? Sorry. I tried to have, hi Cinnamon Hot Hot Hot. Hi Jax, hi Sage Sleuth. All right, darlings. All right, let me see if I can get Trevor up here. Bite. Copy. Well, for being patient with me. Okay, Trevor, if you're watching, I'm sending the email now. He knows that I'm nervous about the technology. We talked about this on Thursday after he accepted my friend request on Facebook. I contacted him through text on his Messenger and told him who I am and asked if he would be interested in coming on as a guest on our channel. And he agreed. So anyway, yes, Keto, I'm pretty sure.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, Trevor Lee, and welcome to Lip Lock No More.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Okay. So I'll be careful. Okay, it seems like we have a slight delay. So let's see how this is going to go. Now, kids, I'm going to take my eyes off chat. Trevor and I have discussed ahead of time that basically he and I are going to chat. And after we talk for a little while, Trevor has agreed that he will take questions from the chat. And
Absolutely.
when he does that, I'm just going to sit here and be quiet and let him interact with you guys. Does that work for everybody? Will that work for you, Trevor?
Yes, absolutely.
We have a delay, young. Anyway, again, welcome. Really excited that you're here. So is my audience. Now, if you're watching, you know that I've already let the audience know who you are. You are Trevor Lee. You are a 21-year-old college student in East Tennessee. And yes, you started the reward fund for Wells. For those who may not have heard you or seen you in previous interviews, Trevor, would you mind laying a little groundwork for the viewing audience and let them know First of all, how did you become aware that Summer Wells was missing?
So I live locally in the area, so news spread pretty fast that there was a missing little girl in our community. Um, few days had passed without any sighting of her, any answers to what had happened, and I felt like it was just laid on my heart to do more than just to share the flyer or sit there. So I moved forward with the donation.
Okay, your audio was cutting out really badly, and I hate to ask you to repeat yourself, but would you mind telling us again how you came to know Summer was missing? I'm so sorry we're having this connection problem.
That's fine. So Summer went missing, of course, on June 15th, and our whole community was made aware. Word spread pretty quickly that there was a missing child in our community. So a few days had passed without any answers, and I eventually decided that it was laid on my heart to move forward with the donation and to get more involved in the case.
So when you say, when you say it was spreading through the community quickly, are you talking about mainstream media or are you talking about social media?
Social media, mouth to mouth, mainstream media, just all of the above.
Okay. And you say that in your opinion, I don't want to misquote you, but something like, as a paraphrase, things weren't moving quickly enough for you. And it was laid on your heart, and everyone, Trevor and I have discussed ahead of time, he and I are both Christians. And when Trevor says laid on his heart, that he was led by God to do this. And that's one reason I have so much respect for him, is that he followed through on what was laid on his heart. Trevor, some people may not know, do you mind telling my audience, where did you get the money that you started the reward fund with?
So I've been working a part-time job since I was in high school and had been saving for college, putting money aside, and so the $2,000 came from that savings. So my personal savings account at the time.
Okay. And for those who may not know, would you tell my viewing audience, please, what was your initial, where did you deposit that money and what was your deposit?
So it was a $2,000 donation to the Civis Bank, which was who the reward fund was being run through by the Hawkins County Rescue Squad at the time.
By Churchill Rescue Squad.
Churchill,
right?
yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah. And no, you're fine. That's great. Okay. And that's basically, I just wanted to lay that groundwork for, I'm pretty sure, glancing over at chat, Trevor, with all the names I'm seeing here, I'm pretty sure everyone is already fully aware of who you are and the information that we're laying out there. But I wanted to just get those basic facts out there for anyone who may be new coming to Summer's case. You know, Trevor obviously has been involved since evening one of Summer's disappearance. I didn't become involved until about 3 months after Summer's disappearance here on YouTube. And many of you have been, when I say involved, what I mean is keeping up the case 4 months on end, 19 months now, plus 1 day, as a matter of fact. But I feel like we need to remember that there will be new people who very likely are just now or had just recently become aware of Summer's case. So that's why I wanted to lay those facts out there just in case. Trevor, if you would, and these are things, you know, that we talked about in our pre-interview that we did on Thursday afternoon. Would you mind expounding on having been blocked from the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department Facebook page?
Yes. So I've been very outspoken against Sheriff Ronnie Lawson and the department, the corruption, their lack of work towards the case, and recently I was blocked on Facebook by their official page.
When you say outspoken, do you mean on their page, or do you mean in your social media, or as a guest on channels such as this one? Or
Mostly on my personal page. I didn't interact with their page much. I posted on my personal account.
yeah. So would that mean that they were looking at your personal account?
Yes, they must have been. My posts about the case are set where anybody can view them in hopes of getting word out about the case. So they must have been on my page viewing what I had to say about Sheriff Lawson.
Yeah. That's what it sounds like. It's for sure. That's exactly what it sounds like. Now, do I understand correctly that you have a Facebook group for Summer?
Yes, we do. Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee is our Facebook group that we run for Summer.
Can one of the mods, Trevor, I apologize. I should have been prepared and had that in the description below, and I don't. May we have your permission to post a link if it's available to your Facebook discussion group for Summer?
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, kiddos. Kiddos being mods, if anyone has time and the technical know-how, would you grab the link to Trevor? Trevor, again, what is the name of the Facebook page?
Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee.
Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee. Is that right? Are you still there, my dear?
Yes, Summer Wells
Probably
Vanished in Tennessee.
Okay, Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee. DC, thank you so much for putting that in chat. Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee. Okay, thank you for that, Trevor. When Trevor and I, just to give our audience a heads up, when we had our pre-interview, I asked Trevor straight up. I said, are there any questions that you don't want to take or you're not willing to ask? And he was like, no. But I want you to know, Trevor, that should I or anyone in chat ask you a question and you're like, I just don't want to address that, then I want you to feel free to do so. And that's what I'm about to ask you. Do you mind sharing this outspokenness you have about Ronnie Lawson? Now, you and I talked about, I asked you if you had seen my channel, right?
Yes.
And you responded that you had. And so then I said, so I asked you, so you're aware that I can be somewhat controversial, right? And your response was yes. And then you shared with me, as I recall, that you had actually shared one of my videos where I'm coming sideways at Ronnie Lawson with your group. Is that right?
Yes.
Based on that, do you mind sharing with us how do you, I don't want to say how do you feel, that's not a good question. What is your stance? What is it about Ronnie Lawson for you?
So my eyes came towards the corruption in Hawkins County after the whole Brandon Lawson case, when he was given 20-year sentence, knocked down 19 years to 1 year for disgusting crimes against children. Something that wouldn't happen anywhere else if your dad wasn't an elected official in charge of the sheriff's department. And that got me interested in digging in more and hearing from more locals, and just finding out that there is deeper corruption coming from Lawson and likely others in leadership in Hawkins County.
Well, you and I think a lot alike on those lines. I won't reiterate how I feel because my audience already knows how I feel about Ronnie Lawson. Would you mind sharing with my audience Detective Pruitt, who is a member of the Hawkins County, Tennessee Sheriff's Department? Do you mind sharing with my audience a telephone call? You don't have to tell us what was said, just share what you're comfortable with. But there's a particular call you had that ended rather abruptly with Detective Pruitt. Do you mind telling about that?
Sure. So at the end of 2022, I had reached out to Detective Pruitt just to touch base on the case, ask questions. And going in, I knew that there was a lot he couldn't talk about. But I had called and just said, would I be able to ask some questions about the Summer Wells case? And he just spoke over me, told me that anything would be released in a press release. He interrupted me a couple of times, told me to have a good new year, and hung up.
He hung up as in hung up on you?
Yes.
Like, yeah, like just no goodbye, just. That's interesting. I find that very interesting. So he was talking over you, so he obviously wasn't listening to anything you were saying. Were you asking him well, you said you went into it knowing there were things he wouldn't be able to say. So it would sound like you were going into the call realizing that you needed to use discretion and sensitivity to the fact that this is an open investigation, and not and ask valid questions. You weren't calling to be nosy, right?
Exactly. Anytime I speak with TBI or attempt to speak with Hawkins County or anybody else in law enforcement, I always preface with, I know there are things that can't be spoken about, but I just had questions. And with Pruitt, all I did was say, could I ask a question? And that's when I was interrupted, and I asked again if I could just ask a question. He said it would be released in a press release, and then hung up.
So you were never, not only did he never say yes, or he didn't even say, no, you cannot ask a question.
Right.
He just talked over you. Okay. Wow. Would it be fair for me to characterize him in that particular phone call as brusque and rude?
Absolutely.
My character. Okay. Wow. And as I understand it, he's the lead detective in Summer's case.
Yes, he is.
Yeah. And you said you've spoken with TBI. Is there anything about that you can share with us?
I reached out to Leslie with TBI around the same time, the public information officer for the eastern portion of Tennessee, and just inquired on a few things in the case. I mean, I posted them publicly. She said there hasn't been any movement. I asked if there had been any movement towards a resolution. There hasn't been. I did also ask if there was a official site of life for Summer that day, and they do have that. Obviously, she couldn't share when, but there is a portion of throughout that day that they can confirm she was seen.
So to clarify what you just said, Leslie Earhart, the Public Information Officer for the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, did share with you that they, TBI, are able to substantiate proof of life for Summer Moon Utah wells on June the 15th of 2021. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. And that piece of information, Trevor, I know you're aware, is so very important, especially when it comes to rumors and misinformation on social media, including YouTube. Because there have been a great number of questions as well as discussions in chat rooms and left in comment sections of people wondering or even claiming in some cases that there's no actual proof of life of Summer on June the 15th. And so I appreciate you sharing that information with us. Although it is secondhand information, I have absolutely no reason to mistrust Trevor at all on any level about anything. So I completely believe that he has had that discussion and was given that information. Let's see. Trevor, I believe that I am at the end of my list of questions. Is there anything that you want to toss out there before I throw you to the wolves that inhabit my chat room? Now, listen, y'all, I told Trevor on Thursday when we talked, I have a warm, compassionate, thoughtful chat room, and he has agreed to take questions from you. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. So at this point, I'm not going to mute myself because I'm scared if I touch anything, I'll mess something up. And we seem to be going okay right now. Trevor, you can see the chat. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. So what I might do, I think I feel comfortable with if I, let's see. Let me see if I post this from Angie Girl. It says, Trevor, it says, what does he speculate happened to Summer? Do you mind sharing speculation on that?
Sure. So I think the main piece for the investigation is that 4-hour gap between about 2:30 when it's been said that Summer was seen during the day at whatever store or wherever they were, and 6:30 when she was reported missing. I believe that Candace and possibly Dawn and Candace's mother, Grandis, as I call her, are involved. But I believe in that 4-hour window, Candace did whatever or covered up whatever occurred.
So it sounds like you think maybe there was some sort of an accident. You're not speculating on what actually happened to Summer. Your speculation is more about what happened in the window after something happened to Summer. Would that be fair?
Yes, I believe whatever happened to her happened in that time gap that's yet to be determined.
And okay, in a window of time. Okay, let me see. I'm seeing. Let's see. When Evil Entered is asking Trevor, have you spoken to the neighbor who had surveillance footage of vehicles in the area the day Summer went missing?
I have not. I have spoken to one neighbor when I was on a private property search, but he had no information. He's a newer neighbor to the area and had no information regarding the case.
Okay. I think I missed one from Brenda Redmond. Brenda, I'm sorry, I did miss yours. I scrolled back up. Trevor, Brenda Redmond is asking, what happens to your $2,000 donation?
So right now it is in court. The Churchill Rescue Squad put it in court after there were questions about a portion of the donations. So it sits in the Hawkins County Chancery Court currently. They hope to have it on the docket sometime in February, but we'll see. And the court will determine where the sum of money goes that they can substantiate was donated.
Okay. And that would include your $2,000, correct?
Yes.
That the court will decide where your $2,000 goes?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Okay, we have a question from Sage Sleuth. Trevor, can you say exactly how Leslie stated proof of life?
Yes. So I presented the question as, without disclosing when or where the proof of life occurred, can the TBI confirm a proof of life of sighting for Summer Wells that day? And she said yes.
Okay, honey, on my end, you cut out. I'm sorry. Would you please repeat yourself?
Sure. So I presented the question to Leslie as, without disclosing when or where the proof of life occurred, can you confirm that the TBI has confirmed a last sighting of life of Summer, or proof of life that day of Summer Wells? And she said yes.
Okay, so to repeat that just in case, because there was just another little skip there in Trevor's answer. He said to Leslie, without disclosing location and time, could she at least confirm that TBI does have proof of life of Summer on June the 15th? And she was able to confirm they do have proof of life on the 15th. And anytime, Trevor, that I repeat something you've said, if I misspeak, please correct me, okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Andy Stoner, let's see. Trevor, what things are you considering that would have you believe the parents know over abduction, etc.?
So I've, since the beginning, looked at the possibilities in a general sense of what could have happened to Summer. So we look at foul play, abduction, and I separate those two by foul play of somebody who was with her versus an abduction, somebody who took her, or wandering off. The search was unbelievable. I've never seen a search so thorough and big that I just don't believe that she wandered off. I've been out there myself, multiple agencies, multiple states, incredible amounts of technology have led me to believe I don't think she wandered off, because she couldn't have gotten farther than that search grid was. So that leaves, in my eyes, abduction or foul play. The FBI card team came in and determined themselves that there is no sign of abduction to them. And in that case, I've trusted that if they thought there was a chance of that, they probably would have said that, or not come forward and said that they don't have any sign of abduction in a case this wide open. So that leaves me to believe that the ones who were with her that day know what happened.
Thank you for answering. Very good deductive reasoning, by the way. Beverly Vineyard has a question for you. Does Trevor think it was an accident covered up, like an automobile hit her?
So in the case of foul play, I would like to think it was an accident. Maybe something happened at the swimming hole, something happened during the day, and they freaked out and covered it up. I would hope that was the case instead of outright taking a life. So that's where I stand on the accident.
Okay. Me has a question. Trevor, have you talked to any of the local RSOs?
No, I have not. But I know, of course, they were spoken to by TBI as some of the first people to be interrogated, but I haven't spoken to any of them.
Okay. I'm going to scroll back up here because I feel like I'm missing questions and I don't want anyone. I'll feel really badly after we end if I've missed anyone. that's had a question for you. Teresa Nelson, question: was there proof of life beyond friends and neighbors, businesses?
So for the TBI to make a determination of a proof of life, that would be outside of just somebody like, I know a lot of people talk about Allie claiming that she saw her sleeping in the vehicle, wasn't allowed to speak to her. That would not be enough for law enforcement to determine a side of life. My thought is on camera at one of the businesses they were at, she could be seen in the vehicle alive and well if they've determined a proof of life, which I was told they have. So I believe it came from the convenience store, the grocery store, somewhere they were that day. They've got a proof of life to determine she was alive and well and present in the care of those she was with that day.
That makes, to me, that makes perfect sense. I just want to highlight this comment because we have someone new going by number 9, says, I'm fresh mind to this and don't know ins and outs. Number 9, welcome. The case at this point is 19 months and 1 day old, and it's quite complicated. And it's very difficult to tell someone where to begin. But my personal recommendation is going back to the initial mainstream media news. We call them press conferences, number 9, where Sheriff Ronnie Lawson of the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department is answering questions. Leslie Earhart, the Public Information Officer for Tennessee Bureau of Investigation, answers questions. Captain Tim Coop, who at the time, I don't know his proper title, but he was, if you'll forgive me, he was in charge of the Churchill Rescue Squad, which was heading up the search for Summer. So that's where I would go to lay some groundwork, number 9, if I were you, before I spread out into YouTube channels and social media. Get you as many facts as you can before you branch off into those of us who speculate and have opinions on such things. That's the best. Okay, I see a thumbs up, 2 thumbs up from number 9, but we're really glad you're here. And number 9, if you weren't here in the beginning, the young man who is speaking with us this afternoon is Trevor Lee. Trevor is a 21-year-old college student in eastern Tennessee, and he became aware and became interested and motivated by the disappearance of Summer Wells the evening that she went missing, which was June the 15th of 2021. So let me see this chat. Trevor has really been going by. Trevor, have you caught any questions while I was talking and not looking at?
I've been looking through, trying to catch some. Oh, I see
We
one
do
about
have another one. I'm not sure. Oh, okay. Go ahead and answer the one you see, and then we'll go to the one I just highlighted.
Okay. Katie on EquiSearch. So when this case started, I connected with another creator on YouTube, and he got me connected to EquiSearch, to their leadership. They were eager to come out and did come out to search for Summer Wells. Unfortunately, they have to have that permission from law enforcement to come out, and they have not been requested to come out since. So they would come out in a moment's notice if they could, but they're awaiting Ronnie Lawson or anybody in charge to request that.
I'll keep my opinion on that to myself because that's not what today's live stream is about. Ah, wow. Dave Radar and EquiSearch are waiting on Ronnie Lawson. Come on, Ronnie Lawson. And I'll just leave that there. Okay, Trevor. Now, honey, how much time do you have? We didn't talk about how long you can stay. We've been on here 45 minutes. Are you cool?
I'm good.
Okay. On the screen, we have a question from May. Trevor, why do you think Candace has not been charged with other things involved in this case? Twisted Tea, question mark, you know.
Absolutely. I've asked the same question. That was actually a question I was going to present without going into specifics with Detective Pruitt, and just wonder why other charges have not come out, because the last charges to come out, if there are any, in the disappearance will be regarding the disappearance. It always happens that way. You'll have neglect, endangerment, any kind of the alcohol charges, any of those will come first before you have the main charges. And so it's beyond me why there haven't been charges in the smaller aspects, but I've been asking the same questions.
I would like to ask that question as well, but we apparently will be hung up on if we attempt to ask any. Or I've heard, Trevor, that if we ask questions through email, Detective Pruitt will kindly return a job application to us for the Hawkins County Sheriff's Department. I don't know if that's true. I haven't emailed him, but I have heard that. Let's see. I'm scrolling down to see. Any other questions, Trevor?
Let's see.
I'm seeing one from, I scrolled quite a bit. I've never had this many people in my chat room, Trevor. So Violet Barnes is asking, do you think Hunter is involved or knows what happened to Summer?
So personally, and just through the time has passed and information that's come out, I don't believe that Hunter is directly involved or necessarily witnessed what happened. I hope if he did witness something that he has shared, but I believe his role would be more into the lifestyle of the Wells. I believe he could provide insight into law enforcement. I mean, to us, it's just an extra gift if he comes out to the public, but if he gives to law enforcement more insight into the way they acted in their regular life, because he was around them quite a bit. So I believe that that's where he holds in this case, not necessarily actual involvement on that day.
Thank you. Okay, Debbie H. is asking, Trevor, do you think Don and Candace got rid of Summer due to Don possibly assaying Summer?
That has definitely crossed my mind. I've discussed that with people because the timing would line up with the fact that Summer was going into school age, where she would be starting school soon, and that's when those kind of things are discovered, and that's when, as perpetrators of that crime, you'd be caught. So I think there's a possibility that that was the case.
I know that's a difficult question to answer, so thank you for answering it. Selena is asking, would any people that caused any interruption to the search be reported?
Yes. I don't believe that anyone has caused interruption to the search. I'm not sure if there's a specific scenario you're speaking on or just in general. If they interrupted a law enforcement search, of course, they could be charged with impeding an investigation. So that would be where that would stand. They would probably just be asked to leave, but if not, they would be charged with impeding a criminal investigation.
And Selena, please feel free, honey, to ask if there's a different detail or something that you can put into your question to kind of narrow it down if Trevor's answer wasn't what you were looking for. Sophie is asking, what do locals think happened?
Um, Locals have all different theories. I wouldn't want to speak on everyone living here as a whole, but I've heard a lot are concerned with foul play. Not necessarily an exact theory of foul play, but that there was something that occurred by anyone. I mean, some people believe the family, some people believe neighbors, but somebody that was involved in her life or knew her played a role in what happened is what I hear a lot.
Okay, that sounds like, let's see, would it be fair? And I want to ask the question in a manner that you're not answering for other, we don't want to speak for others, but would it be fair to say that the general feeling, I don't like using that word in a case of a missing child, but the vibe, would the general vibe in the local area then be that Summer is no longer alive?
Yes, I think many have that feeling that regardless of the way it actually carried out, that she is no longer alive.
Okay. Curiosity, Trevor, you ever looked into Polly's land on Fields Road? She sold 4.5 acres in September 2021 before second search. I don't buy into a certain creator's recent claims, but this area has been brought up often through this.
Okay, so there's difficulty in this case. This difficulty stands a lot is a lot of the area near the wells is private property because many people own their property and then acres and acres surrounding. So to get a search on private property is a lot more difficult. I've participated in one on a man's property who completely consented to our search. We spoke with him beforehand. He was more than happy to let us. We went up his mountain up his hill, up the mountain behind his house, and back down. But as far as other properties, that would be more on law enforcement side to come in with, or they could request a certain search group like an EquiSearch or anybody alike that could search on their behalf with permission or a warrant if it really came down to it. But nobody has declined to have their property searched by law enforcement.
So you've actually participated in a ground search for Summer Wells, haven't you, Trevor?
Yes, so I've done a few on my own on public property in areas that I believe she could have been regarding where they went that day. And then I was in one private property search.
Yeah. And did I understand you just now to say that, at least as far as you're aware, there have been no private property owners who have refused to have their property searched?
Yes, as far as by law enforcement, I won't say if like
Have I-
a creator or a certain person has showed up and just asked, they may say no, but nobody has declined a police search.
Okay, let's see. Let me scroll down through here. We're getting close to an hour. I like to keep my lives as close as I can to about an hour so that they're easily digestible by rewatch or, clip channels and whatnot. But I also don't want to leave anyone out, and I don't want Trevor to be left without being able to say something he wants to say. DC is asking, Trevor, do you think they moved Summer's body?
I believe there's the possibility. Part of me thinks where she was put was somewhere that is not, you don't go back and move from, because the confidence and the fact that she wouldn't be found, that was stated early on in the case. But I wouldn't be surprised if she had been moved during the gap of time between the main search and the second search.
I don't know if you're aware that in the last, I think, 24 hours or so, a creator on YouTube has said that Fred Hill, told this creator that law enforcement told him that they had actually found a shallow, I'm sorry, this is very difficult for me to address, a shallow grave, and that law enforcement thought that Summer had, she is the word that the creator used, she had been there and her body had been moved. So I think that's why the question about being moved may be coming up today. I think it'll be coming up across the board on a number of YouTube channels today. I'm not personally prepared to give my opinion on what has been said, but I do appreciate that Trevor is being so open and honest with us and what he thinks has happened to Summer. Okay, let's move on. Trevor, Sage Sleuth is asking, are you connected with the PIs?
So the private property search was actually with the Wells PI. I was requested, and since I've searched previously, to come out and assist in that search, and of course was more than happy to come out. And we searched in pairs of 2, and afterwards we spoke, before and afterwards we spoke with the PIs. I told them I would be glad to search any other time that they needed assistance, but we differ on where we see the case. They strongly believe she was taken by an animal and taken up the mountain on a game trail, but just without the evidence of, and of course none of us know, so I'm just speaking on my 2 cents, but
yeah,
I don't believe that any size of an animal that we have here could have taken a girl that size without leaving a trace. And as hard as it is to talk about a trace of anything, clothing, I mean, whatever you would imagine there.
Yeah. So, insofar as having a connection with the PIs, it is that you went on a search with them, but you don't work for them or with them or anything like that. Would that be fair?
Yes, I gave them my information and told them I'd be more than happy to help in any capacity that I can, but we don't actively work together.
Okay. Cotton Candy has asked the same question several times. Please check about Cotton Candy, honey. I'm so sorry. Cotton Candy 65. Honey, I know I didn't see it. I'm scrolling back up, Cotton. Honey, I'm not seeing it because I'm not accustomed to having almost 300. We usually have about 50 to 70 people in here. Let me see. Here we go. I got you, Cotton Candy. Here we go, bud. Is this it? Cotton Candy 65. Trevor, what do you think about Jody Sue Brown, Andy, Damien helping with cover up / and involved in Summer getting gone?
So I know there's a lot that is said, especially on Jody Sue, and that she speaks quite a lot on the case. Personally, I believe she's more of a shock jock than having so much knowledge on the case. I don't see her being involved. Now, if we get 2 years down the road and she's arrested, I wouldn't argue it if she was charged with it or anybody else. But personally, I don't see her as being directly involved in the case.
More of a Howard Stern type, maybe?
Yes.
Shock jock type? Yeah. Okay. Cotton Candy 65, honey. I'm so sorry that I missed that, but I'm glad that it was called to our attention and that we got back and found it. Okay. And yes, DC, that was a great question. Let's see, Trevor, I'm just glancing down through the chat that's going by to see. Matthew, honey, that's okay. I'm glad that you're here now. And please do, let's see, who said, I'm down to the newest of the comments now, kiddos. Who said what? Oh, is tagging Abby Blue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to let somebody else's conversation with someone. All right, Trevor, did you see anything out to respond to, or are there any, let's see, let me see what, that's a question to chat.
I did see one thing that I could address real quick, if you don't mind.
Please.
So
No, please
I saw
do.
a comment. This was just a little bit ago regarding EquiSearch. I know there were rumors about them coming in, and I saw a comment about being intoxicated or not reporting to the police. I'd just like to personally speak regarding them. They did come in. They spoke with law enforcement, with Tim Coop, completely connected with TBI, did their search, reported all of their findings, and followed all protocol by law enforcement. So I just wanted to squash any rumors regarding their involvement, and in this case, they do a great job.
Can you take just a couple more questions we have here?
Sure.
Okay. DC, I've got it up on the screen. Trevor, is there anything, DC, thank you for this. Trevor, is there anything you recommend for us that we can help with in the search for Summer?
So the big thing is keeping her name out, whether it be sharing a flyer on social media, putting a flyer up, sending it to someone, just keeping her name out so the case doesn't go cold, because when we give up as a community on her, then that gives the open door for somebody like Ronnie Lawson, who we already have concerns with, to shove her file under the cabinet and call it a day. But if we keep her name out and keep pushing for justice and keep pushing for answers, that's how we're going to find a resolution to this case and hopefully find justice for Summer.
Another question from Be the Bean. Trevor, what do you strive to be as in your career? And then Be the Bean goes on to say, please say the president.
Hey, everything's in the cards at this point. Whatever I do, I want to do something that I can make an impact. That's all I strive to do. Whatever God leads me to do that I can make an impact in, that's what I'm going to do.
It sounds to me and looks to me as if you're already making quite the impact, young man. Quite the impact. Chris K is asking basically the same. But if you don't answer anything you're not comfortable with, but Chris K has said, what are you taking in college?
I've tried to take a lot. My major is business administration, which can be, which of course I can use to spread out many of different fields, but I'm exploring a lot and just trying to find out where I fit best.
Great. So right now you're working on a bachelor's in business admin.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, awesome. Well, it looks like that I'm not seeing any more questions popping up. Shorty Small, you're waving at me with capital letters, honey. Is there something that I need to take note of? Trevor, Trevor, the real Rockin' Robin. Trevor, have you considered running for sheriff of Hawkins County?
That would be something. Lawson, it's been said that this is Lawson's last term, so I hope to have a influence in who, I hope as a community we can have an influence in who runs next, because that's a huge part of not just for Summer, but for children in our community in the future, because unfortunately, as we know, there will be another Summer Wells, another Evelyn Boswell, another child that goes missing, another child that's life is taken, and whoever's in leadership over what they do plays a big role in that.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm seeing, Shorty Small is saying, okay, we're going to take one more question from, Let's see. Birdie, where's your question, honey? Shorty Small got my attention, and we'll have one more. Well, we'll have two more questions, and that's it. We'll get Marlena can too, but I'm looking for Birdie's question. Sorry, I'm scrolling back up. And folks, I wish that we could just stay and ask questions of Trevor all day. Birdie, honey, I can't find it. But this young man actually has a wife. Birdie, let's see. But the scroll past them kind of, let's see. I'm looking, Birdie. Trevor, do you see a question from username Birdie?
I do not. Mine only goes back so far when they refresh.
Birdie, right. Birdie, do you mind typing it again? I'm sorry to be a pain in your patootie, but I can't find it. And in the meantime, where did the one go from Marlena? I'm ordinarily a lot more organized than this. Okay, here's Marlena Cantu's. Let's do this one, and then let's see if Birdie will retype for us. Marlena Cantu, question. Trevor, in your heart of hearts, do you feel like this case is moving at all or is cold? How can we get higher ups to look over this case?
Okay, so to address the first part, after my conversation with Leslie Earhart with TBI, she said that they have not moved any further towards a resolution. With that being said, I think, of course, they have more information than we do, as they should. And I think that there's some stones that, if they're uncovered the right way, things are looked at back at the beginning of the case or looked at again. I think they can at least move closer to finding out what happened. As part of getting the higher ups to look onto the case, it's hard because the TBI is an assistive agency. They were legislated in to be an agency only upon being called in to assist. So they can't take over a case or step over a local agency unless the agency asks for their help. And how far they ask for their help relies on the DA and the sheriff. And the FBI is the same way. Unless there is a federal crime, they cannot take over either. So unless something is investigated, looked into with Lawson, and somebody else is put in his place, he holds the cards of requesting those higher up agencies.
Trevor, last question, and it's a sensitive one. But Birdie has asked, Trevor, she wants to know, let's see, let me just read the comment. Birdie says, I was just asking Trevor if he thought it was just as bad for Candace to play with a 15-year-old boy as it would be for Don. I think what Birdie is asking is in reference to the question earlier in regards to possible SA with Summer. Is that the way you take the question, Trevor?
Yes, and I think also the divide between a man hanging out with a teenage girl versus a grown woman hanging out with a teenage boy as in Hunter. So I can address that from my opinion. I believe with Dawn's past of what we've heard of SA with everything that's happened in Utah, I mean, nothing confirmed, no charges in that sense. But with what's been alleged, I think with him personally, it would look worse. But I believe somebody like Candace being around a teenager and having an influence, I think is just as bad as if Dawn was having influence on a teenager. I think either of them having somebody that much younger than them in their life that is not their child, their family, is not good, especially with the fact that Candace lost her children earlier on, her first children, and the fact that they're just not, I mean, I think we can all agree they're not very good role models, so I wouldn't think it was good either way.
Okay. So basically the answer is yes, you think that it would be just as bad for Candace. It does, gender, it doesn't, what am I trying to say? Answered it well. I don't need to rephrase it, I don't think. It's just as bad either way. Either way. Trevor, I can't thank you enough. I don't know how to express my appreciation to you for your willingness to come on my little channel. You know, I don't even have 6,000 subs over here. And like I said, generally speaking, we only have maybe 50, depending on what I'm talking about, but 50 to 75 in our chat room. And so I appreciate you putting up with me being nervous about it and everything. But you've been such a gracious guest. I thank you for being open and honest with my chat room and those who will view as a rewatch. Is there anything else you want to say to the audience before I boot you off the stream and end this broadcast?
Well, I appreciate you having me, and I enjoyed the conversations with you and your chat. I just hope everyone will keep the fight on. I know it's hard. We're so much farther in than we thought we'd be, but we have to keep the faith and keep pushing for Summer Wells. You're welcome to follow us in that Facebook group that we mentioned, Summer Wells Vanished in Tennessee. And most of my work I share on my Facebook page. I don't have my own YouTube page, but I do a lot on Facebook. So you can follow me on there as well. Just Trevor Lee, and there's a picture of me holding a flyer for Summer.
All right. Well, thank you again, young man, and you keep up the good fight as well. Thank you for everything that you have done and continue to do on behalf of Missing Summer Moon Utah Wells. And will you come back sometime?
Absolutely. Just reach out. We can discuss that anytime.
Okay. Well, we're friends on Facebook now, so I can reach out to you, and I've got your email address. Ooh. All right, sweet. You have a wonderful day. Thank you again. And we'll see you on the flip flop. Okay, Trev?
All right. See you guys.
Okay. Bye. Subs, chatters, those who will rewatch after this live stream. Thank you all for being here. And thank you for good questions, solid questions, questions with heart as well as just seeking facts, any known facts. I really, really appreciate every single one of you that is here. I really do. Now that I'm over the hump with having a panel guest, you know, maybe we'll get over the nerves about it, the technology of it, and it wasn't quite as hard as I thought it was going to be. So, let me see who's in. Let me just kind of grab a couple of you here before bye-bye. Kimberly, you're welcome, honey. I'm glad you were here. Poppy Red Mustang, I appreciate you, honey. It's going to jump over you guys. It's jumping fast. Sage Sleuth, sweetie, I'm always looking forward to your live streams. You know that. Birdie, I love you too, honey. Ms. Delta Lady, I think so too. What? Oh, I'm not going to get emotional on you now. Come on. I made it through the whole live without it. I'm just reflecting on my conversations with this young man. When I contacted him on video call on Instant Messenger last Thursday, the first time I talked to him, I felt like I was talking to one of my grandchildren. I sat at my kitchen table. I had a cup of coffee. Um, he was relaxed, just the way you heard him and saw him here. He was the same young man here as he was privately with me. Intelligent, well-spoken, motivated. It was refreshing, to be honest, to interact at my age. I mean, I'm 50 years his senior. I have grandchildren older than him. So when we talked, I felt like I was just sitting at my kitchen table, which I was, on a video call with one of my grandkids. Once I just made a kind of said, this is me, this is who I am. Do you know what I do? And so on and so forth. So anyway, let's see. Judy Johnson, thank you so much for being here. Sasha, Sassy Brenda, darlings, I know I'm going to miss because there's so many of you in here. Sasha, Beverly, Rosemary, Sue Steph, Lisa Hope, Carrie Bishop, one of our beautiful mods, Lady R 2.0, love your channel. Mohawk Mom, yes, he's extremely polite. Mohawk Mom, I'm glad you were here. Thank you for being here. Flies on coleslaw, it's always good to see you, baby. Birdie, honey, you're okay, honey. You're fine. I love you to pieces, you little stinker. I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I made you frustrated, baby. About half the time there, I was like, okay, you need to listen to what Trevor is saying and see if there are questions in chat. I'm surprised I didn't frustrate y'all to the point that you said, well, I can say it once, can't I? Can I say it one time? Just once, YouTube, Susan. I was thinking, shit, fart, save matches. I wished. Babies, I'm not reading. Yes, he was very respectful. Hi, Cat's hi. Babies, I'm just trying to grab a few. I'm not reading them. I'm just trying to grab a few of you and throw you up here. Thanks, me. Thank you. I just get, hi, Blue Eyes Webster. Hi, Jen Hoffa. Hi, was his. I get so dang. Hey, Shorty Small. I get so dang nervous with this technology. I'm afraid we're going to glitch out, or I'm going to click the wrong thing, or a cat's going to disconnect it somewhere. And like on that one live, when I was still live and didn't know I was still live, and I couldn't get into the computer because it was locked up, and I'm trying to end it on my phone, and I'm like, Be the Bean, he did a Facebook Live yesterday, and it was a good one. He does seem like it's like the day that we talked, I don't think he'll mind me saying this. We scheduled it at a certain time of day because he was having lunch with his mom. He was like, I have lunch with my mom, but anytime later in the afternoon, Birdie, you don't feel good, honey. I send you a dose of castor oil through I'm sorry you don't feel. Honey, when I don't feel good, I'm as grumpy as all get out. I don't want nobody to look at me. I don't want nobody to talk to me. I don't want nobody to touch me. I just want to be left alone when I don't feel good. Oh, but I do like to at least grab everybody at least once here. Hi, Bama fan. Bama fan 1, exclamation. Hi, Wicked Stitches at work and listening. Yeah, I'm going to, Birdie, I'm going to send you a dose of castor oil. All right, darlings. Hey, Grammy. Grammy, I was thrilled that he would, that he would, and that he did. And I'm really happy to have him as a friend. You know, I do it like that because, as I mentioned before, that's what Facebook calls it, friend. So I use the term because it's familiar. That's what I've said before. But when you get grumpy, you get more determined. Castor oil fix anything. All right, Rockin' Robin, do you know how? Hi, Kimberly. You know, though, yes, with cars too. But you know, when it comes to humans, when I was a kid, how castor oil fixed anything that was wrong with me. When I saw my mama go into the medicine cabinet to get that bottle out, if it wasn't Pepto-Bismol, which, believe it or not, when I was a little kid, I liked Pepto-Bismol. I would pretend to have a stomach ache so I could get some Pepto-Bismol. Well, I think my mom caught on to me because when she would go to the medicine cabinet and I would see the castor oil bottle, all of a sudden, no matter what was wrong with me before then, I was miraculously cured before I ever got the dose. I'm just saying. Castor oil brought you into this world. I'm telling you, yes, but cured. Oh, Kiki Eyes, honey. Hi, much love to you. Much love to you. All right, kiddos, listen, I don't have a song ready today. I know I always sing y'all out, but I don't have a song in my head. On a hill far away stood an old rugged cross, the emblem of suffering and shame. And I love that old cross, where the dearest and best for a world of lost sinners was slain. So I'll cherish the old rugged cross till my trophies at last I lay down. And I will cling to the old rugged cross and exchange it someday for a crown. I would tell y'all to behave yourselves, but I don't see any point at all in wasting my breath and your time when we all know you ain't gonna do it. So go have you some fun, but stay safe. Always remember the universal hand sign. Thumb to the palm, 4 fingers over. Help me. Learn this. Thumb to the palm, 4 fingers over. I'm being held against my will. Help me. Do not approach. Call 911. If available, store security if you're in a public area like that. Do try to keep in line of sight, but do not give anybody any clue that you saw this. And wait until law enforcement arrives. Now, I'm going to see you on the flip-flop, whether you like it or not. In the meantime, don't forget, there really, truly is one weird, crazy old cat lady out here roaming the mean streets of YouTube who genuinely loves you no matter what. So I'll see you on that flip-flop, whether you like it or not. That is, if you choose to tune in. And I hope you will. And thank you to Mr. Trevor, ending the broadcast.